Vancouver's biggest all-candidates election debate. My name is Paula Kolitsa, and I'm the chair of the Vancouver Public Space Network. We are one of the co-producers of tonight's event. Our partners in this event include Stay Vancouver, Happy City, and SFU Public Square, all fantastic organizations advocating for people-led city building. So it's been great working with them to put this on. So the VPSN is an all-volunteer, non-partisan, non-profit organization. We do advocacy, research, and placemaking in Vancouver. And we value well-designed, socially inclusive public spaces that foster a vibrant culture, environmental sustainability, democratic activities, and good times. So speaking of place and space and where we are, I would like to acknowledge that we are on unceded territories of the Coast Salish people, the Tsleil-Waututh, Squamish, and Musqueam nations. And this is something especially important to consider and to educate ourselves about in the midst of a municipal election when we're choosing the representatives and leaders of this place. I also want to acknowledge that this event is taking place in the Imperial Theatre, in the proximity of the downtown East Side, Hogan's Alley, and Chinatown, which are all really important to the history of the city and to the culture of this city. So why is a public space organization putting on an election debate? We believe that democracy and local governance happens in the public realm. And there was something else I was going to say about that. So whoever ends up in those seats around City Council at the end of the month, they'll be hearing from us, the VPSN, as we continue our advocacy for more and better public space for everyone in Vancouver and all the visitors to this city. Very, very smooth. So this is the fourth time the VPSN, as we are colloquially known by our friends, has hosted Last Candidate Standing. And it's a little bit of a different event than your typical election debate format, as I think you all have a clue about. First and foremost, we have invited every single candidate that we could possibly get in touch with, that is, without running into them on the street. And so who's in the room? So of 92 candidates who have put their names forward this time around, 55 candidates are here tonight. And you're already doing it. Let's give them a hand. We're honored to have you all here in front of me. Join us. It takes a lot to put your name forward on a ballot, and takes a lot to stand up here in front of the stage. And you're also very happy that each and every one of you will now have a chance to meet the civic body that is here behind you. So thank you very much. A few more thank yous. So thank you to our sponsors, which include the Imperial Theatre, the MRG Group, and Faculty Brewing for providing us with some cheap beer tonight. Let's give them a hand. This is a really beautiful venue, so we're very happy to have this space tonight. So a few more notes. You've all been handed a fundraising ballot. Yes? Yes, yes, yes. No? No. I hope some of you have a fundraising ballot. There are fundraising ballots. There we go. Some are being raised in the air. Get our like tick mark practice in. With 4 nonprofits that we've selected outside of the co-presenting partners tonight that represent advocacy for democracy and civic issues. So we will be donating all proceeds of tonight's event from the donations to these organizations. And another quick note, you've all been stuck with Stay stickers, so stick around for more information on that. And now, introducing tonight's Master of Ceremonies. A person who has voted in every single municipal, provincial, and federal election until she was legally able to do so. A person dedicated to bettering her community in all her roles, including as the community engagement director right across the street at 312 Main, and as the renowned choir director of the Woodward's Community Singers. Sounds familiar? It is an honor to have her here tonight. Welcome to the stage, the marvelous, the beachcombing, Vanessa Richards.
After school special. Yeah, they asked me for my theme song. And I heard somebody on CBC mention this show about logs. And I thought it was appropriate for me. Also, speaking of timbers, we are standing on the unceded territory of the Musqueam, Tsleil-Waututh, and Squamish people here in this historic neighborhood that was historic before the creation of Vancouver, when it was always a meeting place for people and nations. So it's good and right that we should be gathering here together from across all of our relations to show up here tonight. That's right. And I would like to make a big round of applause for our hardest working workers in the evening so far. We had for you playing the Rolling Train Wreck. I hope you could all appreciate the banjo solo that was played, and also you might like to know that they're up for 12 Canadian Country Music Awards. 12 BC Country Music Awards, and in the there's a National Country Music Spotlight program, and they're placed #2. So for those of you that had the headspace to take a listen to the beautiful 3-part harmonies and the masterful managing of the strings, making music from strings and timbre, yeah, really, I say thank you for that. So, there's a couple of different ways that the clapping might get tiresome. There's your good 2 feet, and you can go like this. Everybody just try it if you like. There's a slapping of your leg.
Or your neighbor.
Priscilla says, or your neighbor. Make sure you're friends. There's the feeling you, man, but not going to disrupt you. Oh, does that mean we're not talking while candidates are speaking? That's right. However, if somebody says something really stirring to you, that you really want to say, I'm with you, I'm with you. See how soft and subtle that is? It's like, I feel you, man. This is a totally like summer camp piece. And the last movement that I'll give you, if you're really feeling somebody at the end too, this kind of would like a snap. You can, I also learned this at camp. Hands on your heart, and it's called a love swoosh. I would like to start my night with one if you don't mind. I'm feeling a little in need, fighting the bug like everybody else. So you're gonna go like this, like rub for 3 seconds. I'll demonstrate once, and then you can do it as a practice on me. 1, 2, swoosh. Well, see how nice that would be to receive, so practice. Thank you, and I give it back. Feel it. Okay, so those are your options for saying, I hear you, I appreciate your words and your time, right? Thank you very much. And I want to thank Paolo for the introduction, and I want to thank everybody, the Vancouver Space Network and folks, which you'll hear all of our other different partners tonight too, for the good work that you've done to help bring democracy to the fore in this very important time. And this is an important election. And tonight we're going to have a chance to learn a lot about our candidates and the variety of issues that have been very carefully chosen and represented as a cross-section of pressing issues. So I'm going to go over a few of the rules of the game with you, because last candidate standing is not your typical debate. However, in order to read the rules, you must meet the panel of Inquisition. So first, the queen under which this whole premise is based, the mistress of the gong. Thank you so much. So our three panel members are Justin McElroy. He is the municipal affairs reporter for CBC Vancouver, writing stories at City Hall from Vancouver to Belcarra. Right now, he's on a surreal quest to cover an election story every day until this campaign is over. Previously, Justin covered federal and provincial elections across the country for Global News. Justin McElroy. Francesca Fionda is a data reporter with The Discourse, an independent journalism company telling stories through community engagement. You can follow the team's work at thediscourse.ca. Our final member of the Inquisition, Jon Woodward, an award-winning reporter for CTV News in Vancouver. And he has hosted documentaries on CTV's national news magazine show, W5. He has been on the CTV decision desk on election night in BC and Ontario, and federally since 2013. Jon Woodward. Remember, you have the option to variate how you are making a sonic response. Also joining us on the stage here are a few other key folks. Katie Wong is our mistress of the gong, as I mentioned earlier. We just needed to say it twice. Karen is our official greenest city clerk. How are you the greenest city? Show them that greenest. Thank you so much. Our tech team, my notes are incomplete. Let me pull the pen from the secret place and fill it in. Could you kindly? Oh, I can read the name tags too. Our tech team of Sarah, Devin, and Renita. Would you please make all kinds of various noises for your panel? Thank you kindly. So here's how the game will happen. We will be calling all participants to the stage in randomly selected sets. Randomly selected sets. How are they randomly selected, you ask? With our amazing tombola, a bingo drum in which the candidates' names have been added. Karen, show them. There is the opening into which the names are now entered. Ooh. In our first round, we will be drawing sets of 5. Each set of candidates will then be given one question. All 5 candidates will answer the same question. Candidates will answer the question, in the order that their names have been drawn. So when we call your name, candidates, your first demonstration to the audience will be how well you listen. Remember the order under which your name is called. The easiest way would be who came before you and who came after. For the first round, each candidate will have 60 seconds to answer the questions. If they go over, what happens, Mistress of the Gong? That's fantastic. Now this is important for the audience. I have a stage management thing to do here right now.
Almost our first gong show moment.
Great, now that we've sorted that out. Okay, so let's hear everyone out. We're going to be respectful, of course. We're going to hear a variety of ideas on how we deal with important civic issues, and you'll have your chance to cheer and make all the various sounds. But as I mentioned before, when the candidates are speaking, the only thing you're allowed to do might be a little, which means I feel you, I love what you're saying, right? Okay, People, are you ready? All right, people, are you ready? All right, so, round one. Ooh. Ooh. In the interest of time, sorry, I won't even talk any time more at all. Okay. Okay. And Andrew just... Sorry, Renata.
There we go.
Oh, yeah, first we're doing 4 now because some candidates didn't show. Yes, some people canceled today. I know that Hector Bremner canceled this afternoon at 1. So we'll have 11 groups of 4. First one will be Michelle Molyneux, Vancouver first. Second, now being first, Maynard Aubuchon, Independent. Are you here? Fantastic. You can begin to make your way. Come on, Maynard. Jason LaMarche, from an Independent. Jason LaMarche. Seti Shota, also Independent. Round 1.
Hi there, Maynard Aubuchon, Independent.
Oh, look at that. I was such a good counter for just a minute. There is okay.
When the ballot contest, first vote,
I did when I walked. Can I find that?
Okay, so
If you don't mind.
Yeah.
So we will have then Elizabeth Taylor from Vancouver first, reading in or presenting, let's say 4th place for all of you journalists. She will be our 4th place person.
say what you're running for.
Vancouver first. Yeah, so all candidates, please say if you're associated to a party or independent.
Independent, Maynard Aubuchon.
Jason LaMarche, Independent, first name on the ballot, literally your first pick for mayor. JasonLaMarche.com.
Sadie Sahota, I'm independent and I'm running for mayor.
Elizabeth Taylor with Vancouver First. I'm running for City Council.
What's the question? And make sure you speak in the order that you were presented. So I'm going to push this button.
Were you the first one?
Yeah.
Right on. You're the first one. So you will, 1, 2, so you're standing in the order that you will be speaking. And the question is...
All right. Here we are today, crammed into this theater to have some election fun. And not so long ago, thousands of people were in Stanley Park to enjoy the Skookum Music Festival, mostly for long lines for drinks, food, and bladder relief. But the festival also drew noise complaints from the neighboring district of West Vancouver. Can Vancouver host a good party, or is this a sign that Vancouver really is a no-fun city? What would you do to make Vancouver fun again?
I believe that was part of the last council's decision to tax, I think, after parties or something. Am I on the right ground? But what would I do? I mean, change the bylaws so you could have loud parties at night and also just keep the same taxes, whatever the last council did. What changes? Change the noise bylaw, that's all I can think of. Speak to the police board, you know. Yeah, that's about it. Maynard Aubuchon, that's all I got though. Okay, thank you.
What would I do to make Vancouver more fun? Probably encourage more independent artists and party organizers that want to have fun, maybe at the beach. Maybe let people have a glass of wine on the beach, maybe have a glass of beer. You know, we could go on Granville Street and actually let people turn that into a beer garden on a nightly thing. I don't know if that's a good idea, but hey, it's the district where people go. Same thing for Gastown. There's too much like grandma, grandpa vibes coming out of City Hall, and so I think we could loosen that up a little bit. And with cannabis being legalized, you know, we could have that included at the Jazz Fest and all sorts of little finger snappy events too. I think that would mellow people out, but still let them party.
I think I don't, I'm a homebody, I don't drink, I don't smoke. So all of you are gonna hate me. Well, maybe some of you are gonna hate me. And I actually had a really bad experience at a hockey game where this drunk person punched a man in front of his 4-year-old son. Since then, I think there shouldn't be alcohol allowed at any gathering. But I'm an Indian. Also, we have free-flowing alcohol at all the parties. So I don't know what to say. I think go out and have fun.
Well, I was born in Montreal. Need I say more? Seriously. Exactly right. Look, I mean, I say to people all the time that Vancouver is a very beautiful woman with no personality. So I think that we do need to inject some personality. Does it have to be late at night? Montreal has festivals during the day, and people drink beer and have fun during the day too. And we do definitely endorse beer on the beach. So yeah, that would be my answer. Go.
So while our panel of inquisitors make their calculations, am I coming over to get the information? It's coming over this way. They're working it out on this side. So again, we're hearing from Maynard Aubuchon, Jason LaMarche, Seti Shota, and Elizabeth Taylor, our first candidates. What I'm going to ask you to do too, while you guys calculate, are you ready? Okay. Our winners today is Jason LaMarche and Elizabeth Taylor. Thank you, everybody else. It's time. And one more. Andrew Pask, I'm not sure what you mean. How's about this? Yes. So what we're going to do now is I'm going to give you 3 candidates' names who are coming up next, and then I shall call the next set of folks who will be, as we say, on deck. And you can wait right here in the order at which your name is called. Understood? All right. So this, yes. Stop. Thank you. Fantastic. And the candidates are, number 1, Glenn Shernan. Please make your way to the stage. Raza Mirza. Please make your way to the stage. Glenn Shernan from Coalition Vancouver. Raza Mirza from Pro Vancouver. Shauna Sylvester, Independent. Graham Cook, Independent. And on deck, are you guys standing in order? Perfect, Graham Cook. Come on, Graham, come on up. The price is right. Okay, so on deck, Tanya Paz, Vision Vancouver. You can take your seat here. Brandon Yan, One City. Mr. Pete Fry from the Green Party, please sit beside your colleague. Could we also have Connie Fogel from Idea Vancouver join them here on deck? Ladies and gentlemen, your second set of candidates. And here is the microphone.
All right, your question is about city squares, which are not just the people in the planning department. I deserve that. Vancouver has many parks, but few public squares, which in other cities are the focus of urban life. Name one Vancouver city square that is not in front of or behind the Vancouver Art Gallery. Should this city shape up and get more? If so, where? Or is having a city square just pointless?
I've long thought We should have more city squares at every intersection in the southwest quadrant of the city. Particularly because the southwest quadrant is more hip. The rest of the city is less hip, and I'm going to stick to that.
Does Jim Diva Plaza count as a square? Well,
you bet.
Okay, thank you. That was a complete fluke because I was standing there the other day. Yeah, as for city squares, I think it's not a matter of choice. It's a requirement because, again, we are building a city where we are living in tiny spaces, because people cannot afford to live in large homes. Those are now your community gardens, your backyards, and for some people who are living in downtown, they can go there and their backyard is now concrete. But for other ones, maybe on the west side, on the east side, where we have a bit more green space, we can call one a square. It doesn't have to be made of concrete. So thank you.
Wonderful. As the founder of the SFU Public Square, I would say Lot 19 Jack Pool, but the real city square that I think we have is English Bay. You can go down there any time of the day or night and you're going to meet people. And the reason why it feels like a real public square is that it doesn't matter how old you are, where you're from, you're going to find a place. Now, if there was just an opportunity to maybe have a glass of wine or a beer at English Bay, it would make it a really great city square.
Yeah, in terms of naming one, I'm going to have to go with Jack Pool Plaza because I'm completely blanking and you brought it up. But a big thing about having public squares is as our city grows, as it densifies, as we welcome new neighbors, we need, as Raza perfectly pointed out, we need to continue to build and invest in the things that make these neighborhoods worth living in, places where we can gather, and as Shauna pointed out, places where maybe you can have a glass of beer or a glass of wine and it isn't the end of the world. So yeah, that's my kind of take. That was anticlimactic, sorry.
Thank you. And while our workers calculate, I would like to add in this neighborhood, we also have, anybody want to guess what I'm going to say?
Crab Park.
Crab Park? Pigeon Square, exactly what I was thinking. So maybe if when weed is legal, then drink could be legal too, to have an opportunity. Okay, so we are ready. And actually, I just want a word with the sound man. Is it possible if I can use, is the sound man up there? One of the other mics? Oh, fantastic. Then I'll leave this one here for them. Thanks. Okay, we are eliminating one person. Glenn, it's over. Yeah, we will retain Jason, LaMarche, Sadie Shota, and the, oh, that's a wrong. Thank you, keep me looking smart. Rasa Mirza? Nice. Shauna Sylvester, Graham Cook, you are going on. You are going on. Yes, thank you so much. So, sound man, I'm going to keep my mic free and use this one here if I may. I hope the new Railton rolling, no, that's not looking like a good one, this other one. We're going to do that. Their chords look so good. So you guys, coming up in order, you're doing good. Welcome. Fry, Brandon Yan, Tanya Paz. You're first? Right on. They told me not to rearrange my cards. Okay, so I'm leaving this up to you guys to sort out my mistake.
We'll just let that play out. Oh, it does not matter what city you are in the Lower Mainland, you will find residents complaining about consultation, or lack thereof it. Name 2 specific ways the City of Vancouver could consult with residents that it isn't doing regularly today.
And introduce yourself first. Shalom, my name is Tanya Paz and I'm running for City Council with Vision Vancouver. Public consultation is too much, too little. I actually think it would be great. I think what happens is when you get older, time moves more quickly. So we should have public consultation for people over 60 for 2 years, people my age for 1.5 years, and millennials for half a year. Everybody would get the right amount that they want. But right now, what we're not doing is having meetings in places where people are. So if we're talking about specific changes, let's say making a street safer, we should have the meeting at that street so people can see what's going on there. Although it's too noisy often to do that, but it would be great to have it nearby, in the neighborhood. That's what they're not doing necessarily. And outdoors. It turns out that when you do it outdoors and with alcohol, like they did for the Northeast Falls Creek, and they had children there playing with Lego and stuff.
Howdy, y'all. My name's Brandon Yan, pronouns are he and him, and I'm running with One City Vancouver for City Council. Thanks, Mom. My mom's not here, she's in the United States. So, consultation. One serious point around language. We found out through the Chinatown consultation that you need to provide consultation in languages that people speak. Shocking. Other things about consultation, because my master's degree was in it, and I did it at SFU, at Urban Studies, is about, thank you, ongoing consultation. So it's not just about doing things with these specific projects, but long-term consultation with folks, and also providing education opportunities for citizens, because we don't actually teach people how our cities work. There's no class in high school you can take, although they are starting an urban studies course. And so we need that ongoing thing. Also, drinking in parks. Yes, let's all get drunk.
Sorry, I feel like that was a short mic session. I mean, less tall. Oh, I'm sorry, but anyway, so I'm one of those guys who complains about consultation all the time, so I do have, I'm on the outside. I actually took an urban design course, I got certified in design charrette, and I was the only citizen in a room full of planners, and it was the neatest experience because planners actually love to get in and do that consultation work, but they're often hamstrung by the instructions that they're getting from on top, and then of course the citizens have skin in the game, so it was a really nice experience. So I think hey, good point. My name is Pete Fry, I'm running for City Council with the Green Party. Yeah, thanks, Mike. So we need to do consultation earlier, that's the key. Too often we do consultation after we've already put out the plans, and then we ask people to put sticky notes on boards, and that's not really consultation. In fact, it isn't what we think of as consultation. Oh, really? That was all right.
Connie Fogel running for mayor with IDEA. I think I would like to see the city open up once a month at City Hall, a whole night for people of the public, anybody, even children, come to City Hall with their idea, their complaint, their request, and the council have to sit there and listen to them and take it seriously. And then the council should make a response to them in writing of what they think and what they're planning to do on that. The other thing is probably be a good idea, I know there are complications with it, for council to meet once a month in the various communities. Use the community centers. That would be helpful and useful to citizens who have a hard time getting out and getting down and listening to the council. Connie Fogel for mayor.
So that was Connie Fogel for mayor on the IDEA Party. Mr. Pete Fry, Green Party councillor. Brandon Yan, One City councillor. Tanya Paz, Vision Vancouver councillor. Let's see who made it through. The calculations are coming in, the tabulation. So next up, I'm going to give you the next 4 candidates and then the ones on deck. So please. So we have going through Tanya Paz, you're in. Brandon Yan, you're in. Pete Fry, stay. Connie Fogel, thank you so much. I'm neutral. Yes, thank you, Connie. Thank you, candidates. Coming up next. Thank you so much. Rohana Rezel, Pro Vancouver. Diego Cardona, Vision Vancouver. Kathy LaRugotel, Independent. Marlo Franson, come on up. Coming on deck, Penny Noble, come to the waiting area, please. Golak Boudet, Independent, please come on up. Larry Falls, come on through. Waiting. Larry Falls, Independent. Yeah. Adrian Cook, are you ready to wait on deck? So Adrian Cook, your last. Larry? I love enthusiasm. Right there. Tell the truth, people. Tell the truth.
All right. Vancouver voters will be staring at a huge record-breaking list of 158 candidates running for 27 spots in this municipal election for mayor, council, parks board, and school board. That could be very overwhelming. What do you think of Vancouver's at-large system of voting where all candidates run to represent residents of the entire city? Do you think a ward system where people vie to represent their neighborhoods makes more sense?
Hi, I'm Rohan Rezel with Pro Vancouver. So with regards to the jumbled ballot, not the random ballot, the jumbled ballot, I did say that we should use numbers and the city didn't want to hear about that. That would have solved that problem. But coming to the at-large system, the at-large system is, it brings together the worst parts of FTP, first past the post, and takes away regional representation. So what I believe is we should have 10 wards to represent the 10 council seats. We don't need more seats. And then have a ranked ballot system so that your vote isn't wasted. So that way people will go and vote knowing that their vote counts. But at the same time, it'll make sure that your vote matters and you get local representation. So that's my answer. Thank you. Oh, I'm Rohan Rizal, running with Pro Vancouver.
Thank you. Diego Cardona, running with Vision Vancouver. So yeah, I think the randomizing of the ballot took care of one critical problem. We had the ABCD problem. It kind of benefited me, but I'm glad it's gone though. What I think about the at-large system, I think it's outdated. I question a lot any system that was developed in a time when government was only made up of white middle-aged men who owned property. So I think we should really get rid of any system that was made up in that time. Ward systems, I think it's an interesting idea. I also think they're also a reflection of another first past the post system because you can get councillors elected with 20–25% of the vote. So I think maybe mixed ward proportional representation is something that we want to look at. Thank you.
Katie LaRugotel, socialist candidate for Mayor of Vancouver for the Communist League. Really, I think that the problem is no matter how you organize the election, it's not going to change the fact that big business will continue to call the shots. I mean, we've lived through this housing bubble no matter who runs the city and what promises they make. So you see, the real challenge is for us to see that working people, we need to take our organizations, the only ones we have right now are the unions, and make them back into the organizations that can organize us into a big social fight in order to be able to put the big funding for government work projects to build housing, free transit, all those things as something that we fight for and draw in a social movement to create. And that's not something that we get to choose in elections, but it's something that we have to organize around every day. And that's what my campaign is all about, saying that, asking you to join that.
Hey everybody, I'm Marlo Franson. That's right, I am #1 on the ballot. So I love this new the system we have currently. There is a huge document or paper or whatever you want to talk about the ward system, and they want to spend probably another $1 million more just to do more research on this topic. I think it's a bad idea. I think what happens is we need to extend our election period to like maybe 6 months, where we as individuals can all run as candidates and have more events like this to prove who we are as a candidate to you. So you know actually who you're voting for. I would like to see more debates, more council members coming together and talking about the issues, and so we as a city can get more involved, and it'd be longer and more fun to be with, and it would cost you nothing to keep the system that we have today continuously, just extend it for 6 months. I don't know, I think that's a pretty good idea. It's better than spending millions of dollars on the new ward system, right? Yeah. Anyways, I'm Marlo Franson, peace out.
A mighty round of applause for our 4 brave candidates ready to bring good sense and governance to City Hall. Thank you very much. Let's see who shall remain. I'm generally not competitive, and I feel a little bit bad enjoying this so much. However, for the purposes of today, social. Diego Cardona, stay. Rohanna Rezel, stay. Marlo Franson, stay. Katie LaGrotto, LaRougetel, thank you for your participation. Yeah. Okay, coming on deck, I think we should get another 4 candidates ready too. Coming on up, fantastic. Penny Noble, you're number 2. Adrian Crook, you're number 1. So, Adrian Crook, Penny Noble, Gulak, and Larry, number 4. Having our next set of candidates coming up on deck. Yeah, yes.
Question time?
Hey, tell me how you got it.
All right, so next question is about development and zoning.
Okay.
Maybe not.
Oh gosh, I'm so sorry, Inquisitor. Please forgive me.
Forgiven.
Merciful. I've made a mistake. The correct order is, you were right, Penny.
Not that I want to.
Penny is number 1, then it is Golak, then it is Larry, then it is Adrian. Somebody tell me to keep my cards together. No, it matters because our candidate, like the people writing, they've got, yeah. So Penny, you're number 1, Golak, 2, Larry, 3, Adrian Crook, and while we're...
Who's on deck?
Yeah, this is where we're getting to, but first we got to get the people on stage right. And I'm not changing the order of these. I'm not going to think I understand which one is front and back. Abu Bakar Khan, Independent. Please make your way on deck. Nikki Basra, Vancouver First. Please make your way on deck. Rob McDowell, Independent. Please make your way on deck. John Yano, Independent. Please make your way on deck. And everybody take a nice breath in. Are you ready for the next round? Okay.
Okay. So you have heard of the NIMBYs, the not in my backyard. Also, there are the YIMBYs, the yes in my backyard. And there are also the bananas, the build absolutely nothing anywhere near anything. This is a non-exhaustive list. Which acronym are you and why? Well, the 3 that I named are the NIMBYs, the YIMBYs, and the bananas, but you can also make your own if you choose.
Hello out there. I'm Penny Noble, Independent for Council, your no-bull choice for a livable city. I am a YIMBY. I believe that we need to make room for other people. People that sit there in their warm, cozy houses saying, I don't want one of those modular houses in my neighborhood, while they're sitting in front of their TV watching their Netflix. Where do they think those people should go? I believe that we do need to make room for people, but obviously we have to do it in a way where we are considerate of what's going on in various neighborhoods. So I'm all for opening up, being open-minded, and let's look at some different ways to do things than what we've done. And let's get rid of those bananas.
Yeah.
Well, as far as private property goes, I'm for, whatever you want to build it if you like. It's up to you. I mean, if it doesn't hurt anybody, what's the problem? I mean, when it comes to government dictates, they got to stop doing a lot of that. They just got to start looking at things from a much more private perspective. And I'm sure people will probably be a little cooler about, certain things being built in certain places if their individual rights are a little more respected. And that's where I stand.
Tell them your name and party, please.
Gulak Budai, independent, and I'm a libertarian.
Thank you.
Hello, everyone. My name is Larry Falls, and I'm running as an independent. For myself, I guess, and everybody, for you, I am your servant. I believe in the attitude of a beaver, a Canadian beaver. I believe in building homes. I believe everybody should have a place to live and feel safe. I believe we can all work together and we can achieve incredible futures for our children and for future generations. I believe that we can get together.
Please state your name and position you are running for.
Good idea. I'm Adrian Crook. I'm an independent running for City Council. It would be totally weird if I said I wasn't a YIMBY in this forum because I'm known sort of as a YIMBY. I co-founded Abundant Housing Vancouver. But it's important to note that what we have been building in this city is either detached houses or giant towers and not much in between. And when we are out there advocating for building more in all of our neighborhoods so that we can all live throughout this city, what we're really talking about is that missing middle, the co-ops, the co-housing, the land trusts, the purpose-built rental, affordable purpose-built rental. This is stuff we haven't built in this city for who knows what reason, whether it's zoning or just lack of political will, but that's where the real growth needs to happen in this city so we can all afford to stay here. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, brave candidates. Crossing the stage towards the Inquisitors, a little bit frightened, but I am now getting the calculations. They're doing an exceedingly awesome job here, our hard workers. Okay, thank you. So, Penny Noble, please continue on. You will stay. Larry Falls, please stay. Adrian Crook, stay. Mr. Gulak Budai, thank you for your time and participation. Okay. Abubakar Khan, coming on up. On deck we have William John Spark, independent. Justin Codwell, independent, coming up on deck. Ping Chan. Oh, can we keep playing the music while we do this? No. No, this is on deck. No. I'm just getting them ready. Can we do the music again? Thank you. Peng Chan, on deck. Jean Swanson, on deck. Okay, thank you very much. So now in the order that you have presented, I thank you to introduce yourself, if you're affiliated with a party and independent, and which position you are running for. Thank you.
Well, the question is, we're continuing the housing theme because that's something we talk about in this city for some reason. Are you satisfied with the city's agreement with Airbnb, specifically how most of the enforcement onus is on the city? And overall, what sort of short-term rentals should be permitted in Vancouver?
I think I'm the tallest candidate. This might be a while. My name is Abu Bakr Khan. I'm running as an independent for Vancouver City Council. The more I look at the housing crisis, the more I'm realizing again that, density, density, build, build, build. But I'm finding that, look, we have a lot of resources that are already created. So in regards to Airbnb, I'm finding that there's about 800,000 spare bedrooms in the city of Vancouver right now. 800,000 spare bedrooms. So I'd say that, you know what, we should put some, of course we should put some pressure on the people that own the homes. The city should focus on it, but look, we have 800,000 rooms in the city of Vancouver. How can we actually utilize it properly? So for me, the big thing is this is intergenerational housing. Is that you have these young people that don't have a place to live and you have these seniors that have rooms that are available. So in regards to Airbnb, I used Airbnb. I know I'm going off on a tangent, but I used it. It was wonderful. I made a lot of money on Airbnb, but damn, shout out Airbnb. Shared economy.
Nikki Basra, number 3 on the ballot. Wasn't affected by the random order. I am running for council with Vancouver First. My thoughts on short-term rentals are that we need a balanced approach. Yes, we need more housing, and we need to have, allow people to have, first of all, secondary suites in their homes. So not just the one suite, but secondary suites, so that some of these 800,000 rooms that we have, we can turn them into suites and people can actually rent them long term. As far as regulation of short term, yes, there should be some, but I still think that people should be allowed to have short term rentals so that we can have more visitors coming in and they don't have to stay in hotels. And that's it. Thank you very much.
Hello, my name is Rob McDowell. I'm running as an independent for City Council. I think with the current housing crisis that we do have in the city, when a vacancy rate is not going above 3%, we really have to be thinking about what the established rental stock is for. And if we're thinking about them as being for short-term renters, people coming back and forth, I don't think we're addressing the people that we should be addressing. In a rental housing crisis like this, I think we should be focusing on the people that live here, that work here, that study here, rather than visitors or short-term renters. I'm not against the shared economy and certainly not against short-term rentals, but I think it has a place, and that place in my mind would be when we got a bit above 3% rental rate. So thank you.
Thank you. My name is John Yano. I'm running as an independent candidate for mayor. As far as Airbnb, I believe the enforcement must be placed on the companies running them. I support having short-term rentals, but I also support hotels. We must make it possible for visitors to come to our city. Our snowbirds should be able to rent their rooms when they travel. We need diverse solutions for our complex issues, but we need to find ways to build affordable rental housing. That is the most important thing that we need. Having short-term rentals should not be taking room away from our rental stock. Thank you.
4 brave candidates. Thank you very much. So I want to work this out with the sound man. After I get the score, we see who's here, then feel pretty good right now. Yeah, thanks. You don't have to lower yourself to me. I will just be here together with you as you are. And what I suggest is that when I've said who is staying on, I will put the next list of people on deck while the music is playing. And maybe you just keep playing the music until I finish saying the names. Can we do it like that? Okay. Okay. Here. Oh my gosh, it's a tie.
Oh God.
Let's have a dance off to break the tie.
I can't.
Okay. Oh, I've got a different spelling. Are you a, is this a K or a G?
Okay.
Okay. Perfect, thank you. Okay, so Andrew Pask, what do we do in the, there was somewhere, something about a tie? Not the one around.
We all go ahead for the next round. That's wonderful. We all move forward.
Dance off. A dance off? To the theme music? All right. DJ. Oh, right, who's in the tie? Oh, I get it. I thought it was everybody. Okay, so, okay. Abu Bakar, you are dance-free for the moment. Yeah, you're here. You're staying. Nikki Basra, stay. Nice to have you with us. The dance-off is between Rob McDowell and Jon Yano.
This is fantastic. This is an opportunity. Are you ready?
Sina, we need the theme music, please.
Brilliant. This is
understated elegance. You've got a little freedom in the hips. Give it all you got, gentlemen. Give it everything. Give it everything. You can win this. You can win. Win, I said. Elegant dancer. Thank you for the opportunity. Okay, great. Thank you so much. Thank you for being a good sport. You guys will remain. We look forward to the next round. Now, coming up on deck. Thank you so much. So, I haven't changed the order of this. William John Spark, you're next. Justin Codwell coming on stage. Ping Chan coming on stage. Jean Swanson coming on stage. On deck, we have David Chen from Pro Vancouver. Ken Lowe from Pro Vancouver. Excuse me, from Vancouver First. Ken Lowe from Vancouver First. Francois Ronet from Independent Land. And Gerald Spike Peachy, Independent. Spike, come on up. All right. So please state your name and your party association or independence and which position you are running for. You have a chance to win.
All right, the question is, so I live in the Mount Pleasant neighborhood and I get to enjoy a ton of awesome murals around my neighborhood thanks to Mural Fest, which is the city's largest free public art celebration. What would you do, if anything, to increase opportunities for art to be created and enjoyed throughout the city?
Hello, my name is Jon Spark. I'm a candidate for Independent Council. I'm not really an arts person. I think the thing that you would have to do the most is make sure that the funding that's in place remains and support arts in the community. Sorry, I'm not an arts person, so I can't answer this.
Good evening. My name is Justin Caldwell. I'm running as an independent for council. I attended Emily Carr and the arts programs in Granville Island. I believe Granville Island is kind of the crown jewel of our city, especially when it comes to artists. And the redevelopment of Vancouver's Granville Island will definitely have a big amount of space for murals and open performers and that sort of thing. So I'm all for it.
Good evening. My name is Ping, and I'm running for mayoralty candidate as an independent person. Mural is very, very important to beautify this city, and I am 100% support to spend money. We don't want cheap mural. We want the best. Okay? But anyway, we have to stick to the budget. Not gonna be over 15%. Okay, I'm telling you. Okay, otherwise I will get a pay cut. Thank you.
Hi everybody, I'm Jean Swanson. I'm running for council with COPE, with Derek O'Keefe and Ann Roberts. I'm a Shimby, social housing in my backyard. I brought these two props because they said we could to show some of our other policies. I think one of the most important things we can do for artists is make sure that they can afford to stay in the city. Which is why COPE is supporting a rent freeze, no rent increase annually, and no rent increase between tenants. And it's why we're supporting a mansion tax to try and get the revenue to build lots of nice, affordable, modular housing to end homelessness and to start housing people who are renters who can't afford to stay in the city.
Thank you, brave candidates. And even if you are not associating yourself with the arts, I do invite everybody to keep their imagination muscle strong, because this is what we'll need to solve all of our big, beautiful, complex challenges. And as they calculate away, we have on deck David Chen, Ken Lowe, Francois Ronet, and Gerald Spike Peachy. Are they all there? Perfect, looking great. Okay, this is hard. Justin Caldwell, you're staying on. Ping Chan, stick around. Jean Swanson, you're in. Thank you. And William John Spark, thank you for your participation. So on deck next we have, I love the music, keep it coming, love, keep it coming. All right, Derek O'Keefe from COPE, Anastasia Cutalinios, Independent, Christine Boyle, One City on deck, Elkie Porter, you're on deck.
All right. The provincial government is talking about introducing ride-hailing to our province to ease our taxi crunch at a pace right now that indicates it will happen sometime after never. But the city of Vancouver regulates taxis as well, most notably refusing to allow pickups in Vancouver by any cab from a suburban taxi company. So if you're on council, what will you do to help all of us in Vancouver catch a cab?
Okay, my name is David Chen. I'm the mayor candidate for Pro Vancouver, and I'm fourth on the ballot. And anybody knows Asian superstition, my mom goes, "Ay-ya, you got the death card." Okay, so anyways, we know we need Uber. So we figured out, let's keep everybody happy, so we're gonna split it up. Taxis can pick up at hotels and the airport, and Uber can pick up everywhere else. No problem. But then there's that service charge you're gonna pay. So anyways, that's our idea behind the Uber, and yeah, we're all for it. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Ken Low. I'm running for City Council under Vancouver First. This is great. I used to come here in the 80s to see the Chinese martial arts movies. But anyways, that's beside the point. I believe that taxi and Uber should be on level grounds. If the taxi people would pay so much for getting their licenses and etc., and the Uber should also be doing the same. So we treat everybody the same, and so we would be fair about this, and then we would help Vancouver to be vibrant, to bring visitors in so that they can catch taxi or Uber or whatever choice they make. But things must be fair. Thank you.
Hi everyone, my name is Francoise Ronet, that's with an E on the end, so you pronounce the S. And in terms of Uber, so I spent 5 years living in Taipei, and Taipei is an absolutely amazing city for hailing a cab. Like, you basically raise your finger and the cab pulls over and you get in. I went back there for the first time this summer in 12 years, and I was surprised to see that all of my friends have suddenly switched over to using Uber, and they're no longer using cabs anymore. I was like, why would this happen? Why are you using Uber when, like, there's a cab literally, like, you raise your pinky and the cab pulls over? Like, oh, but Uber, you have no idea. It's so amazing. The cabs are so clean and blah, 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 and it's so safe. And so there's lots of reasons that people use Uber over taxis. I agree, though, that it's not fair to the taxis if Uber comes in and kind of manages to grab all of this market share. So I think that it should be a level playing field. And yeah, I'm pro Uber, but I think that we need to kind of, we need to make sure, basically we need more taxis. Like, it's just, there needs to be more.
Hi, my name is Spike, and I'm running independent. I'm accountable to nobody but the people. We need as many transportation options in Vancouver as we can get. The present taxi system, they pick and choose who they want to stop for. So we need more options. Yeah, Uber, any ride-sharing program would be fantastic. Thank you.
4 brave candidates. A big round of applause for them all while they're being calculated. So who shall stay and who's off the clock? Well, as they're getting ready, why don't we get Ashley Hughes on deck, independent? How's about Tim Lai, independent? Franco Petta, Coalition Vancouver, come on down. Oh shoot, I am rushing the game. I'm putting you guys out of your seats. Look at me, so ready. Keep it going, keep it. Yeah, stop, Vanessa. Slow it down. Okay. You guys are good, though. Well, I already called Franco down, and my next person, Catherine Evans, how do you feel about, like, making a jam right there? Thank you. Vision Vancouver. Okay, so let's see what's happening now. Well, we have a tie. 3-way. David Chen, Ken Low, and Francoise, please stay. Is it? No, you're in. And Spike, I thank you very much for your contribution. Okay. Yes. Okay. They tied to stay. Okay. So, the next round of candidates, come on up. I'm going to ask if we can have any extra bottles of water up here for any thirsty, nervous mouths, or anybody at all. If somebody on our fabulous team could bring extra water right up here, right up front, right now, that'd be great. Thanks. Okay.
Hi, my name is Mal. Vancouver needs me because I can help you buy local beer, but also to create community by having a space for everyone to hang out. What it would take for me to stay is to regulate commercial rents so that small businesses aren't affected when there's a crazy increase in property taxes. Hashtag Vancouver needs me.
Unexpected moment of fun associated with beer. As the questions get ready, candidates, take a deep breath. You're here, you've made it this far.
All right, so on the question of commercial rents, I was just at a forum yesterday hosted by the Strathcona Business Improvement Association, and every single candidate talked about split assessment and saying that they would push the provincial government to create split property tax assessments so businesses aren't impacted when the land they're on is upzoned. But let's say that happens, so you can't use that as your answer here. What else would you do to help small businesses?
All right, well, I'm Derek O'Keefe. I'm running for City Council with COPE, and I brought the rent freeze tote bag and a bag full of props because at the last minute I noticed the email said props were not disallowed. So first up, this rent freeze that we push for hard for residential, we could also apply it at the commercial level. And once you split the property tax assessment so that smaller landlords and commercial entities are taxed at a lower rate, you can also freeze the rent of some of those small businesses because we see it all over town. Small businesses are dying. It's partly because residents are paying at the end of the month, and I know this in my family, your budget runs out, you stop going to the corner store, you stop shopping at your local high streets, your local shops. So it's partly that. We need more money in the pockets of people who live in the city to spend at the small businesses, but also we need to control the rents of the small businesses that make our community vibrant and make our neighborhood strong. So let's have a rent freeze for everyone who lives here, and let's have a rent freeze for the small businesses that keep our city running. Thank you.
Almost gone.
Hi, I'm Anastasia Coutelianos. I'm independent and I'm running for City Council, and this, to be honest, is outside of my wheelhouse. I live on the Drive and I do see a lot of the stores there constantly changing and closing down. And I think one thing at least I can do, and I think we all can do, is support our local businesses and shop more. Not to say buy more necessarily, but let's be more conscientious of the companies that we do support, because we're not only supporting the goods that they're necessarily selling, but also people's jobs. And I think what we can also do as landlords, and I think that we often vilify landowners and homeowners, but I think that we should also create relationships whereby we make sure that people understand that when they also are supporting small businesses at a decent or reasonable rents, they could have long-term tenants.
My name's Christine Boyle. I'm running for City Council with One City, Vancouver. And I feel so strongly about this issue. Our small businesses create the culture and the soul of our neighborhoods, and we need to do more to support them. So One City has a strong policy to support small business with a few pieces. One piece of it is to create differential tax rates. San Francisco does this so that our small businesses are paying a different tax rate than global multinational chains. We want to support and favor them in our communities, and we can do that by giving them a different tax benefit. We want to support legacy businesses so that businesses that have been around Vancouver for a long time also have an additional support from their communities. And I want to add, immigrants and refugees are more likely than those born in Canada to start small businesses. And so I think it's important to name, too, that supporting small businesses is a way to support newcomers in our communities.
Hi, I'm Elka Porter, and I'm an independent for Vancouver City Council. And no matter what the question was I received tonight, I feel the answer is affordable housing. So I wrote a rap. This is a tale about Vancouver City Hall where affordable housing is affecting us all. Families leaving in droves, some heading quite far where they can afford to buy a house and they don't need a car. Life isn't always sunny, we all need money. Our wage is so low that it ain't even funny. $3 million for a house is a lot to spend. With the prices going higher, where will it end? Life can be unkind, seniors falling behind. Purpose-built rentals are harder to find. Condos too small, prices too high, being forced into the street where people turn a blind eye. We're on a mission, we're all wishing we could change this unaffordable condition. So if Vancouver's not just for the elite, then give Elka Porter a council seat. Thank you.
that was quite something. They told me to stay neutral, and I feel kind of neutered. I'm giving it a try. Coming up in this round, while we're calculating. We're good? Okay. So after I give this round, we're going to get our next people on deck once those seats are cleared. Okay. Okay, starting. Derek O'Keefe, please stay. Christine Boyle, please stay. Elka, please stay. Anastasia, thank you for your contribution. Big round of applause for our courageous people. On deck we now have, cue the music, Catherine Ramdy, Independent. Alicia Perosa, Vancouver First. Music makes all the difference. Melissa DiGenova and PA, showing up. Michael Weeb, Green Party, you're on deck. And there's some water there if you get a little bit thirsty.
So a term that has been thrown around a lot in people's campaign policies or poetry is affordable housing. But what that is can depend on who you're talking to. Tell us exactly how you define affordable housing, how much does it cost, and who is it for?
My name is Ashley Hughes, and I'm running independent for Vancouver City Council. It's a good question about this affordability housing, and we have such a huge spectrum of wealth and people that are coming to buy their first home, buy their first condo, and emerge into the city. I like the co-op housing. I think that that's part of the neighborhood. I live in Cole Harbour, where I see a beautiful waterfront area, and I see single mothers, and I see people going and using the little community stores and going and getting their nails done. And it actually feels like a community versus 3 years ago, where it was cold and it was empty and there was nobody there. There was hardly any people living in my building. I had no neighbors on my floor. Now I work in the West End, and I see the community spirit, and I see how there's so many people, such a diverse. We need to take care of our seniors. We need to take care of our homeless and shelters. And I think that co-op housing, I also think that,
Hello, how are you, everybody? How many people drinking coffee every day? Yeah. So you must know Tim Horton, do you? That is my name. And how many people have the heart? And that is my name too in Vietnamese. So when you go to voting, you remember drinking coffee and you bring your heart to the voting, you remember who to vote for, right? Well, talking about housing, I think it's the most important. It should be the right of people. And the one thing is to do, I think a lot about it, is that we have to create more choices and more supply of the houses in different type, so people can choose and what type they build for.
My name is Franco Petta. I'm running with Coalition Vancouver. I'm going to do one of these for all of you. And,
I love swoosh, thank you.
Well, somebody's got to start. Affordable housing. That's probably the biggest question of the election. Affordable to who? Exactly. To students. It's sure as hell not affordable to millionaires because they can afford anything. So my thing it would be affordable is for the working class. That means probably all of us in here. And I don't think any party's going to solve that question by themselves. I think it's going to take a whole bunch of people to put their minds together and come up with a lot of different solutions. One solution would be, somebody mentioned it earlier, but putting seniors and young people together, because, you know, my aunt used to rent her basement suite out for $100 a month. Not for the money, but just to have company there.
Good evening, everybody. My name's Catherine Evans. I'm running for City Council with Vision Vancouver, and thank you to the Public Space Network and partners for this event. So affordability, it is a relative term. Short answer from me is that anybody who is earning the living wage or less should never have to pay more than 1/3 of their income. They should be definitely in that 30% guideline. When you get over the living wage, some people can pay more, and it really depends on circumstances. It depends on how many people you're supporting. It depends on whether you have to operate a vehicle, whether you can afford it or not. So it's a relative term, but there is certainly a group of people for whom we absolutely have to provide assisted, supported, subsidized housing.
You guys are the penultimate set. We've had, after this set right here, we will have heard from 44 candidates. Wow. Yeah. After this set here on the ground floor, the set on deck, we will take a stretch break. Not a big intermission, but if you need a drink, if you want to go to the washroom, manage yourself. You can be free to move around, mingle, mix, mingle, change seats, do as you like. There's a mezzanine up there with a couch and some pillows, and if you feel like you want to sit cross-legged down here, make yourself comfortable. There's popcorn and beer. Ashley Hughes, you stay. Franco Petta, stay, brother. Catherine Evans, you're in. I want to say thank you to Tim Black. Round of applause for our brave candidates. Come on up. The time is now. Our last of 44 candidates. And candidates, if you want a little sip of water, please feel free. Grab something as you come up. I know it's a little bit nerve-wracking. Last 44 candidates. Big questions, big answers. Don't play small.
So talk of swimming in False Creek made a splash a few years ago before it was drowned out by reports that False Creek is more sewer than ocean, with E. coli counts over 6 times what's acceptable. What are your plans for a fun waterfront in the city, and how do you make sure they don't sink because of the stink?
Hi, my name is Catherine Ramdeen, and I'm running for City Council as an independent. Quickly before I answer that question, these are my props. Promote evidence-based use of cannabinoids in opioid addiction therapy, scientifically proven to get people off opioids. That's one of my platform things. Also, we talked about ride-sharing already. Bring peer-to-peer ride-sharing, Uber, Lyft, by initiating a transparent, that's the key word, transparent, and public discourse. We all got to talk about it. How am I going to make, or what would be my ideas about water being not dirty to swim in?
A fun waterfront.
A fun waterfront. Actually, tomorrow I'm meeting with this guy, Michael Lowry, from the Western Canadian Marine Response Corporation. I met with them last week, and they clean up oil spills. So this is actually kind of an interesting question. Well, okay, there's a lot of goose poop in water. I know that because I take my dog to the dog beach in Kits, and I'm scared of her. Crap! Clean up the water.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Alicia Perosa. A little correction, as of today, I am no longer affiliated with Vancouver First. I am running as an independent. How will I make Vancouver's waterfront fun? I'll tell you what, every summer I'm always at Kits. I kind of live there. I turn into a beach bum, so I kind of, you'll find me in my ripped jeans and my tank top. And one thing that I saw this summer, which was really cool, was they had these kind of race, if you will, races of people that were able, if you wanted to do a full, like a long distance, I don't know the actual kilometer amount, sorry, but a long distance swim around a certain segment within the front focal part of the beach. And it brought together community. And it's something that we had never seen before. And I think that's a great way to bring people out, get us back on the beaches, bring our kids. You get to participate. You get to learn about swimming, which enhances our body's ability and physicality. And yeah, I think we should have more competitions like this. Thank you.
Pull this down. My name is Melissa DeGenova, and I'm a sitting city councilor with the Nonpartisan Association. I also like to call it Never Party Alone, which fits well with this topic about how to make our waterfronts more fun. And I think about the times that I go and I visit Italy and the piazzas. And wouldn't it be nice if people could get permits for the weekend to kind of come down there, create a culture of that, but also to make sure that we allow people to swim, that we encourage them to do that, that we have maybe pop-up change rooms or places where your kid could just run into the water, so that's important. I also put forward a motion, it didn't pass. I'm the only millennial on city council. Sometimes I feel like I'm at the kids' table, but right now, I'd really like to see that motion move forward. It was for Main Street, to have like a slip and slide all the way down Main Street. Unfortunately, it didn't work out, but I'd like to try again if you'll elect me again on October the 20th. So those are just a few of my ideas. I have more, and of course, we need beer and wine down there. Thank you.
Hello, I'm Michael Weeb, running for City Council with the Vancouver Green Party. And thank you for this question for multiple reasons. One, I've done multiple motions to clean up the water quality in Falls Creek, create a no discharge zone so we ensure that the boaters aren't dumping in the waste. We've also got options to make it more fun where Crab Park's actually been swimmable for over 2 years with water quality. It's time to have a beach on the east side. I think that we put more options on the east side is better. The other big one is Trout Lake, not only for dogs and kids. I used to lifeguard there. There's plans to make it swimmable by putting in a creek and taking daylight water from the Eastern Bay, which is completely separated. Let's start swimming at Trout Lake. Let's get the dogs healthy. Let's do it right.
4 brave candidates braving the waters, the political waters. Much appreciated. That gong looks so good. Hardly had a chance to hear it. You guys are doing fantastically. Okay. Alicia Perosa, you're staying in. Melissa DeGenova, you're into. Michael Weeb, stick around. And we say thank you, Catherine Ramdeen, for your participation. Great. So this is your condensed time intermission. Here's what I invite you to do. If you got 2 feet and you're able, how's about you stand on up, put your hands in the air, wave them like you just don't care, stretch to the left, stretch to the right. Give your shoulders a little shimmy, shimmy, show, show. Okay, now, this is a move of a champion. That wasn't a great look. Great. Shake a hand, shake a foot, shake a hand, shake a foot. Okay, looking really good, people, looking real good. So for this next round, we will have 33 candidates in groups of 3, each answering 60-second questions. Answering a question for 60 seconds. We don't want to lose any candidates here, so we're going to keep it rolling. Here we are. Okay. The break is done. The break was just if you need to go to the loop, please do, but we're going to go right on through to the second round as we calculate. So your invitation was just to stretch. So that means what happens, Andrew Pask with our beautiful rolling train wreck. I think we're still in a holding mode, gentle hands. Andrew Pask. Where? Thank you. Okay, after round 2, we will be taking a beautiful intermission with the music of the rolling train wreck. Yeah, after. Round 2, we can have a big love swoosh to the bingo ball. Good luck, everybody. May you be paired with a perfect competitor. Mistress of the gong, show me what you got. Round 3, Francois Brunette, Penny Noble, Catherine Evans. Come on up, the water's fine. On deck we have, sitting in order, Jean Swanson, Franco Petta, and David Chen. Swanson, number 1, Franco and David Chen. And a panel of inquisitors. I have a request from the floor. While it is all about good times here at the last candidate standing, we want to take seriously the issues at hand. And I'm going to ask, we're going to take 10 seconds by request, and this is an easy one to make. There's a lot, this is a season of autumn, the time of letting go. But we don't want to let everybody go. We want a city and a society that does not let people die all around us. Literally all around us. So in this season of letting go, we're going to let go of all of the things that keep us from our humanity, from our shared humanity, and by request, Spike, thank you for the invitation. We're going to do 10 seconds of silence. If you can hear me, stay silent. And if somebody is yattering beside you, just say, hey, we're holding down for 10 seconds. So starting now. May we take good care of each other. We put good responsibility in your hands.
All right, so right now is the first game of what is going to be a long and painful season for the Vancouver Canucks. They play at Rogers Place, which was built over 20 years ago by the then owner Arthur Griffiths without any public funds whatsoever, a rarity for sports arena. The arena is now over 20 years old, and history tells us that sooner or later, the Aquilinis, or whomever owns the Canucks, in the future will ask the city for money for renovations or building a brand new arena. Would you support that, and why?
No.
The NHL has a lot of money and they make a lot of money, and I don't know why they should be expecting public funds to subsidize their business. So no. And yeah, no.
Well, first of all, they should never have got rid of Trevor Linden. And I am a Canucks fan, and I certainly would like to see our hockey games continue, even though they're not terribly exciting at the moment, because they do bring in a lot of, we talked about having a fun city, they actually do bring in a lot of good to our city. In terms of public funding, I think probably I agree with the previous person that there is money we have a lot of wealth in our city that can help the hockey clubs create their environment where they play, and there's also corporate sponsorship that kicks in and helps with that. But go Canucks!
So Calgary's, Catherine Evans, Vision Vancouver City Council, Calgary's mayor gave us a good example of staring down a hockey team and saying, no, we're not going to give you money. And I think there's lots of opportunities for the Canucks to raise money outside of the tax base. So I will also say no.
Wow, 3 brave candidates, 3 brave women candidates. Please correct me if anybody would prefer another gender designation.
Not yet.
Okay. So a round of applause for our 3 women candidates. Ladies in the house. Thank you so much. So on deck we have Jean Swanson, Franco Pera, Chen, as a calculation. I love the sound of calculation. Francois, please stay. Catherine Evans, stick around. Penny Noble, thank you for your contribution. Go Canucks, go. All right. On deck, from our greenest city clerk, thank you, greenest city clerk, Tanya Paz on deck. Adrian Crook on deck. Shauna Sylvester on deck. The Inquisition has begun. Thank you. Good luck, everybody.
Imagine a developer wants to introduce a high-rise development into a neighborhood, but you've heard from the community, they don't want it. What are the first 3 things you would do in this scenario?
So I'm Jean Swanson. I'm running for council with COPE, along with Diana Day, who would be the first Indigenous woman on school board, and Barb Parrott, who would also be a great person on school board. And I brought my props just to keep reminding you of what we could do if we had politicians with the political will. So what are the first things I would do? Well, first of all, I would think, if we put a condo luxury high-rise here, is that going to gentrify this neighborhood so that any low-income renters are pushed out, including low-income renters and low-income businesses? And if the answer to that question is yes, I would say no condo. And the second thing would be to talk to the residents and see what they want, and be sure to explain, though, because a lot of people don't understand that when you upzone a neighborhood, that it has downsides, and the downsides are for the existing residents and the existing businesses. Thank you.
Hi, Franco Pera, Coalition Vancouver. Number 1, the answer is you consult with the neighborhood. Every neighborhood deserves to pick and choose what they're going to get in their neighborhood. Developers are there just for the money. And if we did let developers in, it would have to be that part of the building would be designated low-income rental, so people could live there, but not just for 10 years, like for infinity. Otherwise, no deal. And also, if the developer comes in, they need to build like a village in the community, not just a tower that just sticks out like a sore thumb and basically is a luxury condo for millionaires. Totally against it.
3 brave candidates, thank you very much. Still 3 brave candidates. Great.
David Chen, mayor candidate for Pro Vancouver. So this is the discussion. Resident, I don't want this. Dude, don't worry about it, I got it. Developer, hey, what's the deal? Dude, you know, not on my watch. Wait till I'm out of here, then you do whatever the hell you want. Okay, fish slap, burger bunch, French fries, done.
Three expressive candidates. We appreciate that. And we know that choices are hard, and we know that sometimes there's people who might have a different choice than the politicians would make. Because sometimes politicians have to make tough choices like, I don't know, emancipation. That was a tough one. The sound of calculation. Okay, then let's get that next set of candidates up. Nope, we're gonna wait on that too. I'll just take them in my hand though, Greens candidate. Thank you so much. The sound of calculation. And again, I really appreciate everybody that's come out here today. It's been precious hours of your life to be engaged in the civic conversation and how you'll keep this conversation alive in your neighborhood and with your family and friends and implore the vote. Okay. Jean Swanson, you're in. Stick around. Franco Petta, thank you so much. French fries on the flip side, thank you for your contribution. David Chen. Wow, so come on up in your order. Tanya, Adrian, and Shauna. Coming on up around 3 or 4 of this. Melissa DiGenova, NPA. Marlo Franson, Independent. Come on deck, Derek O'Keefe. Melissa, Marlo, Derek, Shauna, in pantsuit, like me. It's a thing with chicks, politics. All right.
Hello. It turns out the word supply is useful outside of the context of real estate. Specifically, getting drug users a clean supply of heroin analogs, so they don't die from contaminated drugs in our overdose crisis. Should a clean, free supply be part of the city's fix to the opioid crisis?
Yes! Yeah. My name is Tanya Paz, and I'm running for City Council with Vision Vancouver. The question is about clean and safe drugs. For people who take drugs, guess what? People take drugs sometimes. And abstinence doesn't work for everyone. We need harm reduction. Obviously, we need to give people clean and safe drugs because telling them to go get poison illegally and then reviving them is inhumane. There are saviors out there doing it. Thank you, Spike and others, but it's inhumane. So obviously, we do need to do that. Is that the city's thing? So the federal government allows it at one clinic here. The provincial government allows it here. Actually, where some of the delay is at the regional health authorities. So we need to get past that stigma around mental health, but also around addiction. What we all have, since I'm up here and you're listening, is oxygen to give. So carry around a mask. You can save someone's life even without a needle, just by giving them oxygen. So if you see someone's lips going blue, give them oxygen, use a mask.
Yes, absolutely. Clean drugs, clean supply has to be part of the solution. But we also need to get people into treatment programs when they opt to accept those treatment programs. So it's unfortunate Sarah Blythe isn't here today because she talks to this a lot more articulately than I can. But what she's doing down there is incredible work. And getting people through those doors is one step, and getting them into treatment programs is the second step. So it's not just clean drugs, but it's ensuring at a provincial level we have that health care there to get people treatment when they need it, because if we don't, if they have to wait days or weeks, we may not see that person again, and we know what that means. So you know, it's more than just clean drugs, but that's definitely part of the issue. Thank you.
So we have an opioid poisoning crisis. It's not an epidemic. Our rates have gone like that since fentanyl comes in. If this was our food or water, we wouldn't hesitate. We would be acting. We need to not only provide a clean supply of drugs immediately, we also need to decriminalize drugs over the long term. And we need to reinstate our 4 pillars, put the treatment and prevention, get a new director back in the city. I miss Donald McPherson, glad he's working internationally, but we need a Donald back in the city. So we need to work on this very quickly, and this has to be up there as one of our priorities. It is the #1 cause of death for men under the age of 30. That is so not acceptable.
Thank you, 3 brave candidates. Oxygen, rehab, decriminalization, and a dance-off potential. Adrian Crook, stick around. Was that him? God, I'm sorry, Adrian. Gone me.
The moonlight.
Not this time, buddy. Not this time. Which means, Shauna, stick around. Tanya, stick around. Thank you so much. As our next candidates make their way to the top, we're going to bring on deck. Oh, this is hard work. Larry Falls. Raza Mirza from Pro Vancouver, come on up. Elizabeth Taylor, Vancouver First, come on down.
All right, let's take our drive route and aim straight for the green on this question. There's more puns to come. There are 6 public golf... No?
Hello, my name is Alexander Dirksen, and I'm living on the unceded territories of the Musqueam, Squamish, and Tsleil-Waututh peoples. Vancouver needs me because I'm working towards a more inclusive and equitable city through the meaningful advancement of reconciliation. In order to stay in Vancouver, I want to see the City of Vancouver recommit to its commitment to reconciliation and continue to advance tangible action in this space moving forward.
So in 2014, the city adopted a reconciliation framework. What is one tangible action you would take to continue advancing reconciliation in the city, and one thing you have done in your own personal life to advance reconciliation with Vancouver's Indigenous peoples?
Yeah. So first of all, I have to say, Melissa DiGenova with the Vancouver NPA. We started the last council meeting, I'm running for re-election, with a brushing off ceremony, which was really amazing. And we have meetings 3 times a year, but only, well, 3 times a year, one with each council. And they're the Council of Councils. So the mayor and all of the councillors, I've attended every single one of them. I think that that's important, but we can't just meet with each of our nations once a year. I think that, and we do have a manager at the city of Indigenous Relations who works in the city manager's department. So I think that's really important that we keep moving forward with that. But I think that we need to make sure that we have more Indigenous people on our staff at the City of Vancouver. And in my own life, personally, I can say that in my own personal life, I've worked with Indigenous people and made sure that it's up. But I made an effort to hire more Indigenous people as well.
There you go. So she's still talking there. She can't stop. Hey everybody, Marlo Franson again, first on the list for City Council. So we already have a big, huge plan when they plan to tear down the viaducts, of course, to create a reconciliation area for False Creek. So I'd like to see that proposal go forward continuously, and not as well as Hogan's Alley and Chinatown. That whole area is going to be redeveloped beautifully. I think that we need to, instead of tearing down if we do tear down the viaducts, we go and we tunnel underneath for a freeway to solve that issue. But I worked with the P&E. I know exactly. What can you say in this 30 seconds I have left? I know, not much. I work with the P&E, and we had a wonderful reconciliation day a couple years ago, and I'd like to see that continue forward. And any other benefits that we can help with the First Nations, I will look forward to and promote.
Yay! Thank you. I'm Derek O'Keefe, running with COPE for City Council. In terms of a tangible action I've taken, I was involved in the early days. I was a campaigner and communications person at the Wilderness Committee. We were one of the first groups to work with and stand with the Tsleil-Waututh Nation, as well as the Squamish and all the other First Nations that stood up from day one against the Kinder Morgan pipeline, helped to stop that pipeline for now, but that struggle continues. Jean Swanson went to jail for this struggle, and we all need to continue to take action now that it's Trudeau's pipeline. In terms of what the city can do, we have to go far beyond words of reconciliation. Greater Vancouver property assessments came to $900 billion in 2018. That is $900 billion of so-called value on stolen land. So this whole real estate issue we talk about all the time, it is on stolen land. So we have to devolve land and power to the 3 First Nations whose territory this is. Sometimes those will be difficult decisions and even unpopular decisions for city councillors and municipal politicians to advocate, but we have to be serious about that. Thank you.
Thank you. 3 brave candidates. The Truth and Reconciliation has calls to action, which are publicly available online. Every citizen can take a good look at that, as well as any number of conversations you can have with living people. The sound of calculations. Neutral. Melissa DeGenova, stick around. Derek O'Keefe, stick around. Marlo Franson, thank you for your contribution. Come on, in this order, Larry, Raza, and Elizabeth on deck. The next 3 can, oh, actually, here's a question. Andrew Pask, the band wants to talk with you. The band right over there. The Canadian BC Country Music Champions. Brandon Yam, One City, get in line. Abu Bakar Khan, Independent, get in line. Ken Lowe, Vancouver First, there's a seat with your name on it. All right, good people.
All right, it's possible you know the beginning of this question already. Let's take out our driver and aim straight for the green on this question. There are 6 public golf courses in Vancouver, 2 private courses completely open to the public, and 3 fully private ones. Twice in his term, Gregor Robertson has publicly mused about taking the part of the Langara golf course next to the Candle Line and converting at least part of it for another use. So let's iron out what we think. Is this a hole-in-one for the city? And if so, should a partial conversion of any golf course be to straight parkland, affordable public housing, or a mix?
I don't golf, but I do work with some people who do golf. In particular, I do a lot of volunteer work, mostly with homeless people, and one of the men on that team supervise young people, take young children out to golf every day. So therefore, I think golf can be a major factor in supporting sports. But when you look at the property and the amount of property available for golf, I think we can look at a small percentage and convert it to something else rather than just golf only for entertainment or for building homes. Thank you.
Raza Mirza, running for Vancouver City Council with Pro Vancouver. Personally, I think golf is one of the stupidest games. You hit a ball, yeah, you hit a ball and then you actually chase after it. What's the point, you know? And when it comes to the actual space, I think we have to look at what we can use for it. But number one thing is we need to make sure most of our green spaces are not zoned for green spaces. They are actually zoned as housing. So it's absolutely critical as we grow, we need to protect our green spaces, which means we need to make sure they are zoned for, number one, for what they are, green spaces, and then we can look into see if we can open it up for some other uses. But first of all, protect our green spaces. Thank you.
Well, I would start by changing the name of golf because originally it meant gentlemen only, ladies forbidden. I don't know if you knew this. So if you want to keep a bit of the golf, I would say mini putt, right? We don't have any mini putt in this city. So fun, right? So fun. And you add beer to that, even better. So, and then the other part, I would say absolutely affordable housing. I mean, you need to have a little bit of both. You have your affordable housing and you have the mini putt to look at. It gleams at night, it's all fun. But no, seriously, we actually do have a plan for affordable housing. And it is a $400, $900, and $1,300 per month plan. $400 for a bachelor, $900 for a one-bedroom, and $1,300 for a two-bedroom apartment. And that is definitely based on minimum wage, and it is feasible in a 20-year plan.
Whoa.
Dance off!
Dance off. Just for fun? Just for fun? Can we do that? Maybe a joke instead.
I already told my joke, right? Is that, you know, I don't know, a lot of people laughed, so I must have been funny.
Some would argue that hockey is also chasing after something. And people love hockey.
Elizabeth Taylor, stick around. Raza, stick around. Larry, thank you for your time. Wow, so we've got 6 more rounds coming up. You guys are doing great. And coming up on deck, so the music said, hey, Pete Fry, Green Party, come on down. Justin Codwell, Independent, come on down. Ping Chan, Independent, come on down. You guys hear about the 2 fonts that walked into a bar? Bartenders, get out of here, we don't serve your type.
That was a dad joke. That was.
Girl walks into a bar. Ouch.
So, marijuana will become legal on October 17th, and there will be a BC government-approved store ready to go then in Kamloops.
What?
Fact. And meanwhile, the government is looking at smoking out some of the existing marijuana dispensaries. So peer through the haze and tell me what you think the future of getting marijuana in Vancouver should be.
Future of getting, yeah, Uber. Send your driver to Kamloops, I guess. You know, I think that it's pretty easy to get what you need right now. I think it's probably going to stay that way if the government kind of F's up their regulation plan of marijuana. I said F up because it's a public event. And yeah, I mean, for the most part, I think that we need access to medicinal drugs and also access to recreational drugs as well. We need to regulate it. And I don't smoke that much, like vape maybe once in a while, but like, I don't know. That's about it, I think.
All right, my name is Abu Bakr Khan. I'm running as an independent for Vancouver City Council. So right now, a bunch of people in my family, a lot of the old ladies, have started using CBD oil. And I was like, we've been telling you that marijuana ain't bad. And so I'm serious, I feel really wobbly and I feel great and I slept well. So the tide is shifting. But now look, in regards to marijuana, there's all these groups or organizations that have been spending years and years and years in perfecting their craft. I would say that I would push for private groups to be able to still have their own marijuana, not even dispensaries. I would call it. I wouldn't push for dispensaries. I'd push for privately owned areas. So it's not like a BCL, because I don't want it to be privatized. There's people that are weed connoisseurs that have been working on this for so long. So don't take away their livelihood. That's what I would say to make it easier. Thank you.
My name is Ken Lowe, Vancouver First. I'm running for City Council. Marijuana. City of Richmond, 0 licenses. City of Vancouver, lots without licenses. So 2 extremes, what happens? If you want marijuana in Richmond, you come to Vancouver. So that is not a solution. My take on it is that we have to face the reality. Marijuana is becoming legalized. So we have to license them, and we have to keep track of the licensing procedures. We have to up our standards. We have to keep our people safe so that people would smoke safe and clean marijuana and not something else mixed in there. So that's my take.
I'm uncoordinated. Look at me. You win.
Leave them wanting more. Let's see who amongst these 3 shall stay. Brandon Yan, please stick around. Mr. Dance, Mr. Dance, that'll be you. Stick around.
Yes.
I'm afraid Mr. Lowe, Ken Lowe, thank you for your time. Here's a question for you, Inquisitors. Our esteemed audience would like to know, upon what are you judging your candidates, and what is your assessment criteria? Please identify yourself by name and association.
Okay, I'm Jon Woodward from CTV. I'm judging on primarily, did they answer the question? That's my first criteria. Secondly, what's their presentation like? And thirdly, how well do they make their argument?
Similar to John, Justin McElroy, CBC News. Did you answer the question? Did you show a command of the policy in touch with it? Did you show an understanding of what, as a councillor, you can and can't do, and what a city government can and can't do? It's a thing. And then are you able to show that you're a human that can do things other than recite talking points and bring some levity and originality to what you're saying?
And adding to all the criteria is a little bit of creativity. If you don't know the answer, are you able to think critically and think about what kind of tools and policies the city does have to implement solutions to the questions we have? Oh, and by the way, my name is Francesca, and I'm from the Discourse.
Thank you very much, Inquisitors, and I also invite you, esteemed listeners, thinkers, and possessors of agency, to defy their judgments, hold your own opinions, keep your own scorecards, and set it to task on October 20th. That's right. You might not be fair. You might not experience all of these as the same opinion as your own. So guess what? You too will have an opportunity to make a difference on the judgment. It's going to come down to clapping, stomping, whistling, hooting, and such very soon. Very soon, very soon. That's right. On deck. Come on up. On deck. Nikki Basra from Vancouver first. Please make your way to the front. Hey, Ashley Hughes from Independent Land. Come on down. Graham Cook, you're independent. Make your way to the front. I think the dance-off should happen when the band starts at intermission. Pardon me, I'm interrupting the Inquisitors.
Uh-oh, it's a McElroy question.
So after talking about policy and knowing what council should and shouldn't do and having detailed grasp of that, this is a pretty open-ended question. Who is a mayor or councillor in Vancouver's history, sitting or historic, that you admire and why?
Hire or fire?
I
admire.
Admire.
Oh.
Yeah, that's a good question. You know, Jim Green was my mayor for years, and he was my neighbor for years and a friend. But I have to say, actually, the one I most admire is, sorry. My name is Pete Fry. I'm running for city council with the Green Party. I forgot to do that the last time around. So, but I have to say, Philip Owen. You know, Philip Owen took some incredible risks as the mayor of Vancouver to put forward safe injection sites. His party turned on him, and they really turned on him, and it got ugly. But he stood by his principles, and he did the right thing, and I think that's what the job is entailed. So I put my hands up to Philip Owen. I know he's not here, but he really actually did the hard work, and I think that's respectable.
None really. They waste my money and give me dirty looks all the time. But no, Larry Campbell I have a huge amount of respect for. He kept my family safe and served us as mayor, did a great job.
Please identify your name, party, and association.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Peng. It's just Peng Pong No Pong, though. I am one of the independent mayoralty candidates. This question is not an easy one. I'm telling you, all the past mayor are great. And I cannot tell you anything wrong with them. They are all great. Thank you.
Thank you, Ping. I like somebody who can, nonpartisanly, disassociatively, I would say, somebody that can see, we should all see the greatness in everybody. Now that would be something. Speaking of great, I know that you received a voting ballot at the door. If you didn't, you could just raise your hand right now and somebody from our fabulous volunteer team will pass this up, because at the intermission, while the beautiful music is playing, you can enjoy the music and fill out your organization of choice for whom the money of tonight's event will go towards, which is a really great thing. Pardon me. Pete Fry, stick around. Justin Caldwell, it's your lucky day. Ping Chan, the greatness in you survives. Thank you for your contribution. Okay, coming on deck, and
so la, you're telling a lie. I never know why, you don't know how.
Rihanna, Brazil, Pro Vancouver, come on up.
You don't know how to tell the truth.
Rob McDowell, come on down and tell the truth. Alicia Perosa, come on down and tell the truth.
I'm blowing my core with you right now.
In an effort to make rentals more affordable, the BC government is looking at reducing the annual allowable rent increase to match inflation. So from a 4.5 increase to 2.5. At least one developer has objected publicly and said they won't build. How would you encourage developers to continue to build rental units, if that's something you would do?
Nikki Basra, number 3 on the ballot. I would support developers to, first of all, the CACs we need to ensure that they're allocated appropriately and that they're being collected appropriately. As far as the rental increase, I absolutely agree it needs to stay at a lower percentage rate. If not, if we can bring it down, that would be great. And lastly, I just want to thank all of you for being here tonight, asking these amazing questions, and all of you, I want to thank all of you for being here tonight. But again, absolutely support developers in building rental units, however, needed to be taxed appropriately and use those taxes appropriately. Thank you.
I'm Ashley Hughes, I'm independent. You have to speak the developer's language. You know, you have to provide them a little incentive. Maybe let them have a couple more floors, or maybe woo them with different, like a triplex or laneway housing, or maybe we can have a modular unit that's on housing on wheels, but we can take over a city space. We need to woo developers to be a little bit more creative versus, I'm not going to build a tower for renters. Well, yeah, you are, because we all live here and we all have a say, and that's why Ashley Hughes is running for independent councillor, to talk to your developers.
So my name is Graham Cook. I'm running for City Council by myself. I'm number 27 on your ballot. So I'm a renter who can barely afford my rent. So I love the, the cap on the rent every year. But I know what's really going to help me is a 3% vacancy rate. So something I'm sure a lot of you have heard me say in various community center, all candidates meetings, etc., is that we need to legalize and incentivize purpose-built rentals. That means ending the apartment ban. If it means a break on the CAC or the DCLs, we have to do that. If it means giving a density bonus, it means we have to do that. And if it means working with the province to work out a different rent control formula for new units as opposed to our more affordable older units, then we need to do that as well. Thank you very much.
Great work, candidates. And I want to remind everybody coming up that there is water on the side here if you'd like to take a glass with you as you ascend the stage. This is the fourth. Number 4 to the end. The next round will be the third. Then we've got round 2. Then we've got round 1. Then we've got an intermission. And then you make the choices with your uproarious applause, clapping, stomping. Okay, so let's hear the sound of calculation. Ashley Hughes, you're in with your woo. Graham Cook, 3%. Nikki Basra, thank you for your contribution, much appreciated. So, calling on deck, Michael Weed from the Green Party, the #1 speaker in the second penultimate round. Christine Boyle, you are now paired with Michael. Christine Boyle, One City, please come on deck. Elkie Porter, Independent, come on down. Have fun, please identify yourself, which position you're running for, and if you're associated with a party. Knock it out the park.
So, Vancouver's Park Board just approved a pilot project where beachgoers can drink alcohol, provided it is in a cordoned off area and that they buy it there. Is that the right approach? And for bonus points, what was the last alcoholic beverage you had on the beach or the park?
Hi, I'm Rohana Rezal, running for Council with Pro Vancouver. I'm second to last on your ballot, but I'm second to none in my desire to help the city. So, to the question, I think that's entirely the wrong approach. The city has been privatizing public spaces, and this is part of that privatization. If you're going to make it legal to drink on the beach, you should be allowed to bring your own drink. BYOBB. Because that's the right thing to do, because what we have done is we have the cities allowing private enterprises, and I love them, but this should be a people's matter. The beaches belong to the people, and people should drink there. So the last drink that I've had, I don't actually drink alcoholic beverages because I used to, and I learned the hard way that I shouldn't.
Well, hello, my name is Rob McDowell. I'm running as an independent for City Council. I have to say this August, when we had that nice warm sun, I took a picnic. I think I was at Steffo's down to the beach, at Sunset Beach. And I was down there with some friends, and we had a picnic blanket, and we were just enjoying it. We had a couple bottles of wine actually with us. And I looked around, and there was probably literally about 200 other couples around us, or groups, and every single one of them had wine or beer that they had to sneak, and it seemed kind of ridiculous because everyone was actually enjoying it. And we were all being forced to break the law. So my approach would be, in San Diego, they have, in the beach, they have a big sign that says, you cannot drink alcohol from 11 p.m. until noon. If you do, you'll get a huge ticket. Otherwise, they just kind of look the other way. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Alicia Perosa, and I am running as independent candidate for City Council. I'm a soccer coach of U13 girls, so I work with these kids. And I think that when we look at the beaches, we have to remember that our children are there as well. I think that having and implementing the ability to have alcohol there is actually great. I'm a drinker myself, limited. But we need to remember the children. And we need to remember that this is a public space and that this is a space for them as well. Perhaps we can put in a regulation in regards to time, as you were saying, Rob. My last drink and beverage that I must say, was in the summer, and it was a Guinness. Thank you.
Guinness has nutritional properties that probably far exceed its alcoholic properties, so I don't think that that should be included. Rohanna? In. Yeah. Alicia? You and that Guinness? In the summer? In. Rob McDowell? Thank you for your contribution. On deck. Remember, you get the final judgment call at the voters' booth. And you can talk about the injustices you saw tonight. You can talk about it in the editorials on Facebook. You can talk about what you really saw going down here tonight. Last candidate standing on the deck, we have Diego Cardona, Vision Vancouver.
Tensions in the air right now.
Sadie Shota from Independent. Any more voices of judgment coming through? And Jason Lamarche, Independent, come on down.
So, does anyone know what the city's biggest expenditure in its budget is, accounting for 22% of the operating budget? Policing! Over $234 million this year. And it's all paid for by City of Vancouver residents. So how would you assess the performance of the Vancouver Police Department?
Thank you very much. I'm Michael Weeb, running for council with the Vancouver Green Party. This is a very interesting question, and at the budget last year, on the police budget, there was one councillor that voted against it. And this is something we have never seen, and that was Andrea Reimer. And she was voting against it because the use of that budget on what would be looked at on the downtown east side. We need to review the budget of all of our departments as they move forward and understand what the effects are, what the needs are, and how we can do it better. The city is important. Public safety is the #1 issue. When I talk to the police, 70% is being used on community policing. We need to understand the core reasons for that and make solutions so that they're not spending that much of their effort on community policing and utilize other components of the city to ensure we have safety for every single resident. Thank you.
Christine Boyle, One City. I am concerned that the police budget keeps growing. I'm concerned about the way that Black and Indigenous communities are being disproportionately stopped and carded by the Vancouver Police Department. I'm concerned about the increase to the amount that community public events are getting tagged with for policing costs. And I'm concerned about the continuation of a policing approach to addiction and the opioid crisis rather than treating it like the health crisis that it is. So absolutely, I think we need to look at all of those things and address health and address community and stop criminalizing poverty in Vancouver.
Hi, and my name is Elka Porter, and I'm running as an independent candidate for Vancouver City Council. And my number on the random ballot was 61 out of 71 candidates. So if you go all the way to the bottom and count 10 up, you might reach me. Now, as for the police budget, I was hoping to get bike lanes, because I do actually have a poem about bike lanes, but nothing about police. But generally, next time. But basically about the police, I think that as long as the police are doing the jobs that a policeman should do, I think they're doing a good job. But I have a feeling that sometimes police are asked to do jobs that maybe other people would be better doing, like dealing with people who are in the middle of a crisis. And I'd like to see some more support for people like that rather than having a policeman, you know, put them in handcuffs or something. So anyways, but I myself have dealt with police, and I've done a lot of community events.
Look upon your audience, your potential voters. Give them your best face. Best face. You're all winners tonight. Inquisitors, I hope this next question is the one that I want to have answered to. I'm going to switch it around and say, my love of poetry is shared with you, and I thank you for your efforts. Thank you, Elkie. Remaining to the next round, Christine and Michael. Yay. This is our last round before the break, after which we will have the rolling train wreck. You can enjoy some music, have a drink, cast your votes, and maybe any willing candidates could do a dance party to the band. So we're going to invite, where is Seti? Seti Shota left the house while still in the match. So let us welcome Diego and Jason. Please identify your associated party and the position for which you are applying.
All right, so knock on wood, Vancouver's always talking about how to stay safe should a major earthquake hit our coast. But every neighborhood in Vancouver will have unique needs should a disaster strike. Looking specifically at the downtown east side, what specific considerations would you make when developing an emergency plan for that community?
Thank you very much. Diego Cardona, running with Vision Vancouver for City Council, specifically on the downtown east side when developing an emergency plan. I think we need to look first at it's a complex neighborhood with a lot of issues. People have talked about it here, and there's when we're talking about an emergency like an earthquake, the first thing is that we want to ensure everybody's safe, and we want to make sure we can account for everyone. And the first way we're going to do that, and I think we should do it, is by using peer workers in the downtown east side who know who their neighbors are, who know who the people that live down there are, because we need to account for them, and peer workers are the best resource that we can use for that. We need to make sure that emergency services are going to be ready and up, and they're going to be ready to serve folks in the downtown east side. But my focus and my resources and the main people that I would use as advisors to develop a plan would be peer workers.
Hi everybody, Jason Lamarche, running for Independent Mayor of Vancouver. I'm first on the ballot, so I'm your #1 pick for mayor. Please check out my website, jasonlamarche.com. There's lots of information on there. Speaking to the downtown east side, this is a national tragedy, what is happening in this neighborhood, okay? There's lots of plans and ideas that people have discussed tonight, and if you look at the Vancouver financial budgets, we don't have any money, because 22% is going to the police, another 20 plus is going to engineering and services, okay? All that money is going to Metro Vancouver. This is the elephant in the room. Metro Vancouver is an unelected, anti-democratic, crony institution that allows mayors and councillors to double dip their paychecks. The next mayor of Vancouver is going to have to pull the plug on Metro Vancouver, and I'll do it, okay? I'll say it in front of the whole world. And I'll repatriate those monies. They have $700 million in an annual budget and over $4.5 billion in assets. If this was a corporation and we have 2,000 people homeless living in tents just a few blocks away, okay, we'd have to sell off some of our assets and put that back into local projects and local communities. You're looking where the money's going to come from. Our own budget says we have to identify new sources of revenue. Why are we playing kingdom maker in regional government? It's a fraud.
Well, interestingly, because of the default, both candidates will be going through. And I can tell you, currently, the City of Vancouver has a disaster plan for the downtown east side, and it's a muster station at Oppenheimer Park. And that muster station is a meeting place where citizens will be asked to self-organize. So I invite everybody to think not only about what do you want to do to prepare your family, but how you're going to take care of everybody. One muster station. That's the plan. Oh, no calculations. So let me get to this part right here. So this is the end. Oh, my heart is so racing about that. I can't believe that, yeah, seriously, a disaster in the downtown east side. Organizations. All of the service organizations, the people that are living and working in the area and managing their apartments and managing the SROs, they're all working this out for themselves, but there's not a cohesive plan. The City of Vancouver does not have a disaster plan specific to this neighborhood. Shame! So, at the end of round 2, here we are. I'm going to ask you to take a moment to cast your ballot for the fundraising component. I'm going to ask you to vote for who you want the donation proceeds to go to. Can we get those up on the wall again, perhaps? In case somebody's not reading their yellow ballot easily in the dark with the size 10 font. This is what we're going to ask you to vote for. These are the organizations. Thank you very much. Secondly, you may have noticed that you're all decorated with stickers. We're going to invite, and each sticker represents an aspect of your experience, your identity within the civic arena. So we're going to ask you throughout this intermission to challenge yourself to talk to people whose stickers might be different than your own. Talk to a different sticker. Yeah. So we're going to take a quick 15 minutes. I'm going to invite the Rolling Train Wreck to come and give you something beautiful, to give you something that I think, Rolling Train Wreck, come on in and get yourselves together here. Vancouver has a beautiful tradition of roots music, and I think these guys are doing a beautiful representation of that. For years, the city has had a lot of independent roots musicians, and I think Rolling Trainwreck is doing a fantastic job. As I enter the stage, could you give a round of applause for the musicians and the brave candidates to date? And maybe let's stand up. Just get yourselves ready. You can sit back down if you want. You can go get a beer, you can pee, you can popcorn. But let's give these hard-working workers right here a love swish to start their set. And as you're getting yourselves together, I'm just going to ask if you guys wouldn't mind turning around to receive a love swish. So on the count of 3, we're going to rub our hearts. And then I'll go 1, 2, 3, and you give these musicians a love swish. And all the workers here too, actually. A love swish for everybody on the stage. 1, 1, 2, 3. All right, 15-minute intermission.